I recall Kevin being there and Jay being there, and I just kind of had a little side job, you know. But it was a very, very small, kind of very tight set, and it was interesting, but not as robust as it is now.
Hello, I'm Father Reed from Boston Catholic Television. Join us every Friday for a very lively and informative show. This is the Day at 10:30 in the morning and 6 o'clock at night.
I don't remember much about the beginnings of this day. I remember that my goal was to have just a talk show where we talk about certain things. At first it was going to be almost like a show that was on ESPN that had a list of topics and we were going to answer it. That got kicked out quickly, and it ended up myself, Kevin, and Monsignor McInerney. And the hardest part of the show was Kevin was actually about 2 feet from me during the show. So I could have reached out and touched him. So when we went to news, he was right there. And it's tough because he tries to make me laugh all the time. So.
And finally, from the Archdiocese of Boston, Cardinal Sean O'Malley and James Karam, Chairman of the Board of Governors for Caritas Christi Healthcare.
I actually have here, I brought with me some props. I actually have the actual written notes for the first show. So we had a variety of different things that we were going to try. I think I remember the first part being Jay coming to me and said he wanted to do something that was, you know, conversational, have people get to know us here, and that was basically the gist of it. So we created, added some features to give it a script. You know, added some news, and then we originally had Around the Archdiocese, which was one of the first things that we talked about, different events that were going on around the Archdiocese, and that kind of morphed as we started getting into other states, and we did around the country and things like that.
We have an addition, as usual, to our set, which is the box.
There it is.
I'm telling you, to this day, it reminds me of Let's Make a Deal.
I actually gave it away. At the very beginning of the show, I gave it away. Today's Catholic treasure is actually one of the popes. Today's Catholic treasure is none other than Pope Pius VII.
Later on, at the end of the show, you know where we do now, or typically do now, the national days.
Jay, do you like to cuddle up?
Kevin, what are you asking me, Kev?
It's National Cuddle Up Day.
I did a Catholic treasure. So I'd have something in a box, and I'd have a little riddle at the beginning of the show, and I'd make Jay and Kevin try to guess what was inside of the box.
I mean, I always like I play it every telethon, is the clip from Classical Gas, which is that it's a bit that they used to have at the end of the show. Bishop Reed would ask Jay and I a question, and that eventually morphed into Catholic Treasures. So he came up with this crazy question about how we conserve gas, and it came this bit, and we were laughing at him. And it's on. I put it on the telethon every year because it's so funny.
How do you conserve on gas in your family life, in your work life? How do you do that? How do you pull it off? Kevin, why don't you go first?
Okay.
No, we can't go. Gas. You're gonna ask us a question about gas. That's what you came up with. Gas.
Well, instead of walking to the donut shop.
How do you conserve gas? Do you have a hybrid? Gas. Not that I have it.
I would say I enjoy getting to know all of the men that I host with and Claire a little bit more, and just being able to see not just all of you in a 30-minute span, but also being able to work with you and then to bring those personalities to life in the live show or in any of the segments that we do outside of This Is the Day, to say, wow, these are my coworkers, these are my friends, and then we get to co-host together and to let the personalities really come to life. And I know Bishop has mentioned that too before. We just have such a vibrancy and a life about the show, and that I think is the most fun, to just see what happens.
Where do I see it going? We've got Monet and Claire, younger people who are taking over, and I think that it's it's going to go in a new direction just because they bring a new energy, and I think that's so important for not only the show but our viewers. I'm really excited about that. I think it's good. A matter of fact, I love doing This Is the Day, but I stepped aside for Wednesdays because I wanted Monet at first and then Claire later to be on the show, because that's the future and the present of the show.